Hey guys, my name is Zanik. Welcome back to my channel. Today is day 22 and we'll be looking at carbohydrate counting. Now, I could be wrong, but carb counting in relation to insulin therapy is not a common practice here in St. Lucia. That is literally where you count the number of carbohydrates in your meal that you're about to consume, and based on your insulin to carb ratio, you take in an injection specifically for that meal. For example, let us say for every 7 grams of carbohydrates you consume, you need 1 unit of insulin, right? So your insulin to carb ratio is 1 to 7. Let us say that your meal contains 35 grams of carbohydrates. How much insulin would you need? You would need to divide your total number of carbs, which is 35, by 7. So you would get 5. So for every 35 grams of carbohydrates, you would need 5 units of insulin. This method involves a lot of calculations and knowledge about the number of carbohydrates in every meal. And of course, testing blood sugars before and after your meals. Even though we don't follow this method, we are still asked to pay attention to what we eat and specifically the glycemic index in foods in order to know which foods are most likely to cause a spike after our consumption. That is a spike in blood sugar. The glycemic index is a scale that ranks the number of carbs in foods from 0 to 100, which will show us how quickly a food causes a person's blood sugar to rise. Foods high on the glycemic index chart can cause our blood sugars to spike in people with diabetes. Foods with a low glycemic index have a number of 55 or less, and foods with a high glycemic index has a number of 70 or more. So let us look at fruits, for example. Now, yes, fruits are healthy and most importantly, all natural. But let us look at which fruits are less likely to cause a major spike in your sugars, like apples, cherries, grapefruits, and strawberries. Watermelon, on the other hand, is pretty high on the glycemic index, which means it is more likely to cause a spike in your blood sugar after eating. Now, guys, I am not saying that watermelon is bad, right? And that you should not eat it. I'm not saying that at all. But portion sizes is key. So, guys, what you want to do is have more portions of those foods with a lower glycemic index paired with foods with a higher glycemic index. Now, I got Tori to come on board and share with us what it is like doing carb counting for his breakfast meal.
Good morning, everyone. This is Tori Favorite coming to you guys with a bit about carb counting and how I do it. So, this is a typical feeling well breakfast for me. Um, so, get some eggs, toast, buttered toast, and a cup of cocoa. Typically, or usually, I would have 2 slices of toast, but this bread is a bit more dense than the bread that I would usually have, and 1 slice of this has about the same amount of carbs as 2 slices of my regular bread. So I just decided to cut things in half, just to keep it on the good side. Now, in terms of breaking this down for carb counting, we're gonna go over to some of the ingredients involved in putting this all together. So, hot cocoa. If we look at this I have Ovaltine right here, and at the back here, when you're carb counting, first thing you want to look at is the serving size. So the serving size, that's 2 tablespoons, and that's 2 tablespoons of the powdered product, not 2 tablespoons of liquid cocoa. And you want to go down to total carbs, and we can see in 2 tablespoons of cocoa, Uh, there are 9 grams of carbs, no dietary fiber. If there was dietary fiber, we typically minus the dietary fiber from the total amount of carbs. And that's because it doesn't get digested and broken down, as the other types of carbs do. It more or less kind of goes right through you. So 9 grams. I use this, it's basically a sugar-free creamer, and only 1 gram in here, total carbohydrates. So we get a total of 10. And of course we have Splenda is like less than 1, so usually I don't even take that into consideration. So this cup of cocoa, 10 grams of carbs. Now we go to the plate. I mean, there are 2 eggs there, and I mean, eggs each have typically about 1 gram of carb each. 1 gram of carbs each. And then there's the bread, and if you look at the nutritional facts on our bread, we have 26 grams of carbs, total carbs, but we also have some dietary fiber. It's 1 gram. So we're gonna minus that 1 gram of dietary fiber. Okay, usually I might not, I don't nitpick at the 1 gram, the 1 gram instances, just because, when it comes to taking medication, it might not matter that much for the 1 gram. But yeah, so so we got 26 grams of carbs minus the 1 dietary fiber, that's 25. So toast is 25 grams plus the 2 from the 2 eggs. We got 27. And then we have the 10 from the cup of cocoa. So that's for a total of 37 grams of carbs. I believe my insulin to carb ratio is 1 gram, one unit for every 8 grams of carbs. My blood sugar is currently at 187 if I correct. Then I add my 37 grams of carbs for my meal. So a total of 5.14 units of insulin for this meal. Now, typically, I can also choose to have it delayed, but because of the cocoa has a bit of a high glycemic index and causes quite a spike. So I usually just take the whole dose right away, and that ensures that I don't, shoot up too high. And that's it. Carb counting in a nutshell. I hope that was informative and helpful to you guys. Have a good day.